You know what bothers me about Christianity specifically? I guess there are other religions where people do this, but in Christianity, I've observed Christians care more about God than they care about actual people. And then they see themselves as just better than everybody else because all they care about is God. The only word they're going to listen to is God's. The only answer they need is God's. They're better than you because God. When my grandmother passed away, my aunt, who hired the pastor to speak at the funeral, told him so little about my grandmother that for her funeral eulogy, he basically just read her obituary and gave a sermon about being a good woman. And he was staring directly at my aunt while giving this sermon, as if he had a special intention that he was hoping she would catch on to, as he spoke about the importance of being a good woman, and how my grandmother was obviously a good woman. He didn't know my grandmother. He knew my aunt enough just from speaking to her to get to know my grandmother to know that she needed a lesson in being a good woman. And she didn't get it, unfortunately. She likes to talk about how good she is, how Christian she is, pious. And then she gets so angry whenever I'm having a good day. And she has to lash out. And I noticed something in her post. She said that if somebody's going to send me money and help me, like if somebody's going to send me $5 to go and get something at the store, then they should just take me home entirely and just take care of me. Take it upon themselves, really take on the responsibility. And I thought about that for a second, how ridiculous that is with me having a Section 8 and having, taking care of myself as best I can, just needing donations every once in a while, how ridiculous it is for her to just say, well, why don't you take her in completely? Like, that's so much more of a burden than $5 every now and again. And, like, if you're going down, like, on Skid Row, you're not thinking, I need to take one of these people in or I'm not doing my Christian duty. You're not even thinking I should give money to some of these people. Some of them you are. Some of them you look at and say, I could give that person $1. I'm probably going to keep walking, but I could give that person $1. But some of them you look at and you think, there is no fucking way I would ever give that person $1. And so the idea that my aunt, after, like, if you gave that person $1, my aunt would say, why don't you just take them home with you? Like, it's such a drastic shift from what you're trying to do to what she sees as reasonable to do. And then it got me thinking, she's telling all of these other people to do this, but I'm her family. What would God be telling her specifically to do in a situation where her family was sick and struggling? Wouldn't God be telling her to take me in and help me out instead of telling her to tell others who are helping me and berate them and be angry at them whenever somebody helps me? These don't seem like Christian things to do, but they are entirely Christian things to do. And it's gross. There's a family recently who left their child in the car so that they could go to church to hear God's word. And their child died. Why didn't God save that child? It died on His land, surrounded by His people. And it wasn't sick when it got there. You think God can move mountains. God can make miracles. Why couldn't he have moved a cloud over the sun to save that baby? Why couldn't he have moved somebody in the church to stand up and say, something is wrong, we must go outside right now, before that baby died? Even the pastor on the stage had no idea of the danger just outside the door. If God was speaking to him, wouldn't God have warned him, told him something, anything? This baby's dying right here in your parking lot. Can you stop talking about me for a second and go and save this baby? Or is God still saying, keep talking about me? Keep talking about me. These people need to hear this. Christians put so much emphasis on God that they don't care about humans. And they see it as, when we die, we're leaving all of this. You are all so much below us. We're going to be with the one person that matters. And then they're going to die, and he may not even exist. And all of the people who they didn't care about in this life did the entire time.